Hi, my name is Aniel Avaz, and today I'm going to be talking about Fox Butterfield's book, um, In My Father's House. So, I think the main point of the book is that crime can run through a family over many years. I don't think it's fate, but I think your starting point matters for sure. Poverty, family habits, trauma, how the system responds, all these aspects push people in different directions. And I think we really see that from Louis and Elvie in the 1920s to their sons and then to their grandkids and great grandkids. Um, a few break the pattern, which I think that shows that choice is still there, but the climb is definitely not the same for everyone. Now I'm going to talk about how the Bogle family reflects the development of crime. So, first, prohibition turns alcohol into a black market. That was my first thing that I thought of. LV Hall's moonshine, and then Louis steals to get by. So I think the line between surviving and breaking the law gets super duper blurry. And I feel like that fits the bigger story of like the 1920s and 1930s when fast illegal markets grew and pulled people in. Second, I think that the boys definitely learned crime from the people around them. So like they admired the outlaws. They copied what they saw at home. Charlie and Dude, they start with petty theft. Rooster is protected and like rewarded for bad behavior, and then he later ends up teaching that to his own kids. He taught his own kids to steal. So that reminds me of something in class we talked about. We called it social learning and labeling. People take on the identity they are given and they repeat what's modeled out for them. So that's kind of what I got from that. And then next, I'm going to talk about law, how the Bogle family reflects development of law. Um, One clear example is Dude's statutory rape case. Um, Whatever the local opinion is, the state sets a hard age rule, and that label stays with him. So, legal definitions and records shape the person's future, even when he thought it was like normal teenage behavior. It all shaped his future. Um, that is a law written rule, so that means that's like applied with no wiggle room. And then the second example was the homicide with Tony and Paula in Tuscan. It's when Chief ends up dead. So yeah, he ends up dead. The stories change, and the court has to sort intent and responsibility. Um, the prosecutor builds a story for the jury, and then the defense tries to create doubt, and the verdict and sentencing follow that. So that is due process in real life, and it matches what we covered on modern prosecution and courtroom narratives in this course. Um, yeah, and then now I'm going to talk about how the Bogle family reflects the development of justice. So first, I want to say the judge, I forgot his Judge Norblad, I think it is. Um, he pushes the multisystemic therapy. I'm going to call that MST going forward. But yeah, he pushed MST. Regular probation was not working for kids like the Bogles. MST goes into the home, tries to change their daily routines with the family. That's the move towards evidence, evidence-based help for youth that we discussed in class. It's not soft, it's targeted and practical when it is done well. Second, look at Tracy when he comes home from prison. He faces strict parole rules, sex offender limits, housing and job barriers, real mental health needs. And he just wants a new start, but the setup makes slipping back pretty easy, honestly. I think that shows that focus on managing risk after release, but also the gaps that lead to recidivism. I think that's how you say it. Recidivism when support is missing. It also shows that the pendulum we talked about between control and reform, all of that ties into it, I think. Um, Next, I'm going to talk about how did the book make me feel? How do I relate to the story given to my life experience and insights? All that good stuff. So here's how the book made me feel. I felt frustrated and hopeful at the same time. Frustrated because by the time the system meets some of these kids, like the damage at home is already way too deep, you know? Labels like felon or sex offender close doors really fast, and that becomes like their whole identity. So, um, that's why I felt really frustrated. I think I felt hopeful because we also see breaks in the change at times. Tammy builds a faith based life of service. Ashley goes to college and sets like a new path for herself. In both cases, there is a steady adult, like safer routines and a plan for school or work. So I think that matters. Those pieces definitely matter, and I think they work together. Um, but yeah, here's how I relate to it and how it shapes my career goal. I didn't grow up in the Bogle house, but I know how a label can definitely follow you, and I have seen how one fair chance can flip a story completely. So, if I work in criminal justice, or hopefully when I do work in criminal justice, I want to do three things. First, I want to see the full context of something without making excuses. I want to ask what the person I'm defending, what the person learned at home, what support is missing, and then hopefully build a plan that fits real life. And then I think I think if I do that, that's how you really change behavior and not just like following the system, you know? Second, I think I want to push for smart alternatives when they fit. Use MST type help for youth, younger kids for sure. Real mental health care for people like Tracy. Um, Stacking conditions without support sets people up to fail and does not make community safer. Um, I think third, I want to measure success by stability. I feel like a fair outcome is not just only within the sentence, it's also in like ID in hand, a safe place to sleep, a job path, um, someone checking in someone checking in, just someone who's there to help, not only to like just punish. I think Tammy's story shows why that community piece matters for sure, especially like knowing when you have somebody to like lean on that's not just constantly trying to punish you or criticize you. I feel like mentally that helps a lot. Wow, this is getting long. To wrap it up, I think crime, law, and justice meet inside real families. You know, crime goes when it is modeled and rewarded. Law brings hard rules and a formal process. Justice works best, I think, when fair accountability is not taken, but also paired with real help that targets the causes of like all the problems, you know? And I feel like Butterfield gives us faces and details that match our course themes for sure. Like, for example, social learning, labeling, due process, evidence based, rehab, reentry. I think the constant swing between punishment and reform as well. I think the balance is the point for sure. Be firm, be fair, leave room for change. Those were really my takeaways. But yeah, thank you for listening.